Welcome back to another another episode of the Trash Talk Business Podcast. I'm Andy Weins, joined by Casey, Bubba Lawrence, where you can tell we don't edit a thing. We just get to it. Casey, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about a little marketing with your junk removal business.
Marketing your junk removal business. Okay, I'm on board with that. So what do you want to know? What do you want to know, or what information do you want to share? Or why are we talking about marketing? That's probably the better question. Why? Why marketing?
Well, because if no one knows what you do, how are you going to get a phone call to do what you do?
What is it you do here? Yeah, one of the challenges my brother and I had when we started Green Up Solutions, which was our parent company back in 2016, was we looked at marketing and we had no idea what it was. And I've realized over time, marketing is super simple. You just have to be everywhere all the time and make sure the right message is heard. That's it, right? Just do that and you're good, yeah. Right? Unfortunately, as we know, you and I both got involved in a franchise for a lot of reasons. I can speak from my own end. One of the reasons I got involved in the franchise was I thought I didn't know enough about marketing, and I thought others had it already figured out. So I hitched my trailer to their truck, and away I went. So what have you learned over the 6-7 years now that you've been in this industry? What have you learned about marketing, and what do we need to know?
Well, the number one thing about marketing is the minute you stop doing it, you can probably pretty much times that by 4 or 5. That's how much it's going to affect you, because it's hard to get through your head that, if I'm busy, how do I have time to market? But then all of a sudden you have a slow period where you're like, wow, I haven't done any jobs in a week or two. Well, why? Oh, it's because you stopped marketing for a week, and it's just going to keep happening. Always be marketing. I mean,
and it's stupid.
It is.
Well, here's what you're saying, though. What's stupid about that is it is such a simple concept that I have struggled with. I did at first, and I still struggle with it, right? Because there's two notions. One, busy is bullshit. So let's not talk about the word busy, but let's talk about productive. When you're productive, when you're banging jobs, the last thing you're thinking about is marketing and advertising. And a lot of people confuse sales, marketing, and advertising all in the same bucket, and they're not. But to your point, when you're banging jobs and productive, the last thing you're thinking about is marketing. Yeah. And then when you're broke and the phone's not ringing, the last thing you're thinking about is spending money. And either way, it's the same thing.
It is. And
right? I mean, we're not talking about branding and logos. We're talking about basics.
Basic marketing. And, I'll tell you this. What I've learned is you don't have to spend a bunch of money to get going. I mean, you really don't. And depending on where and that's another thing you have to look at when you start a business, right? Any business. You have to look at what marketing works for your business. And that you take into account your area, your competition, your customers even. And like for us, what was working for us, it couldn't be done with other companies or other businesses. And they had to get their own kind of marketing scheme, I guess. And I'll tell you this, what we found out was it's not all about the money as far as marketing. It's about the consistency. And also, man, people just want to freaking meet you. They want to know what you do, who you are, and how they can help. You'll be surprised how many people actually want to help your small business when they get to know you. And if you do it right, you're going to have pretty much a lot of business development positions that are free, that are working for you and your business. That's all it's about. It's just telling people who you are, what you do. Yep. Tell them your why. Why are you doing it? Why do you pick up trash for a living? Doesn't that suck? Yeah, it does suck. But here's what I like about it: A, B, C, and D. Okay, well, how can I spread the word? How can I get in touch with you? You have a website? You have Facebook or Twitter or whatever? Yeah, actually I do. Or no, I don't. I'm actually trying to figure out how to build a website. Well, you know what? My good friend over here, he builds websites for little small businesses, and I can put you in touch with him. Boom, boom, boom. Now you got networking. You got networking. That's a part of marketing, right? Advertising, part of marketing. People think marketing is its own thing. Marketing is the umbrella,
Yeah, no, and what you're hitting on is the money thing, right? When we talk about energy, You got to put energy into everything in life. Energy is only really three components when it comes to business. It is time, money, effort.
Yeah.
So what you're hitting on is exactly right? So I'm going to hit those three things. So let's start with time. You got to be consistent. You got to dedicate the time consistently. You're going to put more time in it at first because you don't have any jobs to bang or you don't have consistent flow. So you're like, oh shit, I'm going to put the time in. Then over time, you got to regulate how much time you put in and make sure the time is intentional and you're present when you're there. Like right now, you and I are putting the time in. We're taking the time to do a podcast. So I was 17 minutes late for us to hit the record button and my phone's ringing, right? But I'm being intentional. I'm putting the time in. Second thing, money. Certain things cost you money. If you want to do PPC, pay-per-click, if you want to be in the newspaper, right? Newspaper still fucking works, as much as I hate to say it, right? Print ads, they take money, but that's advertising, right? And advertising is under the umbrella of marketing. And then the third piece, and I love this, what you said, but it's effort. Who is showing up with those networking events? Is a representative of your organization there? Or is you, the business owner, showing up with your phone on silent, ready to actually meet people, ready to make introductions? Not, I don't do the fucking referral game or, hey, you said my way, I'll send. No, just introduce people to each other. Make a good introduction, a good referral, not a lead. Right? Hey, I'm going to refer you because I think I know what you do. Here, go do this. And give first. Give people your time. Give people your effort. And even give people your money. If you want to get in with a chamber, say, what's the next thing you got? Let me sponsor it and be seen. They will be loving on you. The first year or two at a chamber, sponsor all the things you can afford to sponsor, right? Invest the money. It's not an expense. Marketing is an investment, not an expense. I can't stress that enough. But invest the money, invest the time, invest the effort, and that energy has to be consistent. And then your phone will ring. And then you can go do the thing. In our world, it's junk removal, in your case, demo, right? Do the fucking thing.
Yeah, so a lot of times, and I'm sure you get this all the time, people will send you a message on Facebook or text, hey, we're having a golf tournament. Do you want to be a sponsor for a hole or a table or whatever? I'm going to tell you right now, and, to this day, I will say this is true. I really wish I would have got into golfing, at least in some aspect, because a lot of business transactions happen on the golf course. And I never got into golfing. I know golf, and I understand it. I just never got into it, never tried. But I will say this, just because they have a sponsorship available, don't go and do your first sponsorship. Oh, $500 for a hole, awesome. You don't have to go that big. I mean, you can literally say, you know what? I can't sponsor this, but you know what I can do? I can sponsor drinks. I can sponsor a food item or something.
Yeah.
At the same time, think about this. What are you doing when you first start your business? You're driving, right? You're driving a lot. You're trying to get the lay of the land, see where you're doing business at. You can't just sit in your desk and wait for the phone to ring. You got to go make it ring. One thing I used to do is I'd set up my week. One day a week, I'd call it freestyle. One day a week, I would just drive my area and go look at shit. And you know what? Sometimes I'd see something like, I'm going to go see what's going on over here. Sometimes I wouldn't see much except maybe a new sign. What's that?
I think you stole that from me. I want to, because shit you not. I don't know that you've ever, maybe you and I have talked about this, but I would put on my calendar, no shit, freestyling, right? Like one of our areas here in Wisconsin is Delafield. It's like 30 minutes away. If I don't go there, I don't go there. But if I had an appointment or an estimate, a one-on-one, whatever, I would block out the next 2 hours as freestyle in Delafield. There's a small little community, but hey, what construction is going on? Where's my competition? What new businesses are coming in? What businesses have closed? Who's moving, right? And if you're in a wrap vehicle the whole time, your truck is working.
Yeah, so what's...
Right? Your effort doesn't go when your fucking truck's parked in your lot and you're sitting in your office.
Exactly.
You're not making the magic happen.
And the cool thing is, wrapping your vehicle is a form of advertising, which falls under marketing. And what's crazy is...
Wrap your truck.
And
I can't wrap your truck.
So whenever we get a job...
The whole thing.
The few questions we have, the first few questions we ask our customer, one of them would be, how'd you hear about us? And a lot of times they'd say, oh, I Googled you. But there's an underlying way they found us on Google. They usually saw our truck or yard sign, then Googled us. And that's the thing. the wrap truck is not an end all be all. It works. It works every single time because people see it. But what it does is it grabs someone's attention, and you need something to follow up on. So like a yard sign always helps, or even another freaking truck. And they say, "Hey, I see your trucks everywhere." So I Googled, and yeah, I need your services. Man, that was the biggest thing.
I loved it when we first started. When we first started, we had one truck. If people are like, "Oh, I see your truck all over the place," I'm like, or I see your trucks. Man, we had one truck, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we got a bunch of crews out there today." That'd be me chasing around with my brother, But you just lean into it, right? Yeah. Well, it's the rule of 27. I will say one of the things I did learn from our franchisor, I'll give credit where credit is due, is the rule of 27, right? Which is people remember something after they've seen it 3 times, but they only pay attention 1 every 9 times. So the math says they got to see you 27 times.
And
right? So if you think about a network, like a simple hillbilly math is, if it's a networking group that meets bi-weekly, you got to go to 1 year's worth, 26 touches right before they remember.
But that's the only thing you
potentially
do. Absolutely.
What they might not have. Yeah, it sucks. I remember years ago I went to, this was like my second month of business. I went to a Menominee Falls Chamber breakfast, and I was the 5-minute presenter. So I went to the one in like July, and then I was the presenter in August, right? And then after that, I didn't go again until like December. Yeah. And I showed up there like, "Where you been?" I was like, "What do you mean, where have I been? I was here like 4 or 5 months ago." And they're like, "You got to come every month." And I was like, "Why the fuck would I come every month? You guys already saw me." And they're like, "Well, no, there's 30 people in the room, right? 10 will always be here. 10 will sometimes have been here, and 10 of them are never here, and it's a one-time off." Right? They're like, "Which group of 10 do you want to be in?" And I was like, man, it was so dumb. But I meet people today. They're like, "Oh, yeah, I went to networking events, and they didn't work out for me." And I'm like, "Well, how many did you go to?" "I went to like 2.
Yeah.
You got to put the fucking time in. And I'll be honest, there are chambers that are fucking cliquey because they've seen 100 of you assholes come in and out, never give your time, never give your money, never get your effort, and expect everyone to call you and give you business. It's a two-way street. The best thing you can do at chambers, for my world, is go to ribbon cuttings.
Ribbon cuttings, and
they're free to attend.
Hours that they have on the calendar that are free.
Happy hours. But here's why ribbon. I don't like the happy hours personally because I don't need to drink with friends. I got you, right? But my reason, here's why ribbon cutting is threefold, right? First off, the chamber wants bodies there, right? They want to drive traffic there because they're selling this idea of a chamber to this new business. So it's the first interaction, right? So rule number 1, or reason number 1 to go to. Second reason, there's a picture. They always take a picture. I'm a tall-skinned white kid. I make sure that I am seen in that picture because that picture is going to go on the e-newsletter. It's going to go up at the chamber. The business is going to hang on their wall. "Hey, look at us," right? And so now your face is associated with, "Hey, this person supported me when I was not sure who I was yet, or I was a nobody, or as a brand new business," right? Third reason, we always got food. Right? It's a celebration. There's always chow there. If it's an early morning ribbon cutting, there's a bagel, there's a cup of coffee, pizza, right? That's a meal, but I'm being dead serious. I got to eat 2-3 times a day. Right? It is. We're recording this here at 17:30. I still haven't had lunch. If I would have had a ribbon cutting today, I would have ate lunch. Right? You go there at 11 o'clock or noon, they got some sandwiches or something. So there's your 3 reasons, right? The chamber's going to love on you. You're going to be in the picture, and they always got food. If they don't have food, it's a bad ribbon cutting.
There's a client of mine. He had us demo a house that caught fire, right? And this guy, he has a beard down to his waist. Honestly, it's crazy. He's bald. He made it his brand pretty much. He's that beard guy, right? Well, he actually came to my first ribbon cutting like 6 years ago, and I found a picture, and he has shorter beard than me right now. And I was like, "Holy shit." I was like, "Hey, Chris, take a look at this." He goes, "Wow, dude, I totally forgot I went there." I'm like, "Well, you're in the picture, man. This is pre-beard. Like, look at it now, But the ribbon cuttings are really cool because you don't just get to meet other businesses. You get to meet this new business that's about to go through the same shit you just did, or they're about to go through something you're going through too, so you can actually team up on things, Part of marketing is cross-marketing. Yep. If you can cross market with a small business, you're not just cutting your cost in half, you're cutting the labor, you're cutting everything in half because now you have another entity willing to help because they need the same thing. So like for instance, junk removal, you have to think about who your customers are. What businesses can you partner with in that aspect that aren't going to steal your customers? Well, if you know a good busy landscape company that they keep their schedule booked because they do good shit and they don't have time to do any side work, landscaping companies are great because you can do you can do brochures, anything really with them, and they have the manpower, just like moving companies.
But also what's interesting about landscaping companies in junk removal world, if someone is willing to invest in somebody else to cut their grass, they're willing to invest in you to clean out their basement or their attic or their garage or their shed, or
100%,
their back, right? You know what? Something I learned years ago is if you see someone out in their driveway washing their own car, they're not your customer in junk removal because they rather invest their time into washing a car than their money in a car wash. Because it's $9 to go to your car wash, and they're willing
to spend
an hour or two on a Saturday afternoon. It's not because they're cheap. It's not because
maybe they just enjoy
lazy. It's not. Maybe they just enjoy doing it. Right? I would argue that a guy or girl that sits in their driveway and washes their car on a Saturday afternoon, and that's what they do for their leisure. They probably don't have a lot of stuff in their house. They're probably minimalist. They probably take care of their shit. Right?
I don't know, man.
They probably get rid of something when they buy something else. Right? Like in my head, there's all these reasons why that's not your customer. But that goes back to your freestyling. You got to drive around and get a pulse. I went out a couple of weeks ago. I was training our new GM, Ken. I was doing estimates with him, and I said, you know what? 2 years of not driving around between COVID and the non-compete, I didn't drive much. But I saw my competition. I saw a 2 men in a truck, which I think is, good sign. Collaborators. Hey, where are they moving people? It's probably a good market. I saw Habitat for Humanity drive around. Okay, those are, some partner organizations. Fine. But I also saw where construction was. I saw where new buildings are going up. I saw where buildings are being torn down. It's those pulses that you're not going to get by reading the fucking Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
The pulses that you're not going to get by scrolling fucking Facebook. The pulses that you don't see with people on LinkedIn. You got to get out and just see your community and then be involved. And then to your point, don't be afraid to stop. Yeah. There's plenty of times where I've gone to buy a business. I'm like, man, I wonder what they do there. And I just walk in. Actually, I learned that from you. I'll throw you an attaboy. Remember that you were here a couple of months ago and you saw the big equipment, excavators and shit, like a block away from me. And you're like, oh, what do they do? I was like, I don't know. He's like, what the fuck, man? You got to get to know your neighbors. Yeah. I don't have to go that far and wide. In our same industrial park, right? And we walked in. Remember, they have a big no soliciting sign. We walked in. They kind of gave us a cold reception. They're like, hey, what do you guys want? And straight up, I'm like, what do you do here? And they're like, what? And then you jumped in and you're like, yeah, I like big dump trucks. I'm from Texas. You did your whole fucking Texas bit. And then we stood there for a half hour, talked, and we learned everything they do. They learned everything we did. And now you have someone that they're doing heavy hauling. They don't want to dick around with some of the light shit that we deal with. And I don't want to dick around with concrete and earth materials.
No.
So, and again, you get right past the no soliciting sign because we weren't soliciting. We want to know who are you and what do you do? Yeah. Just out of fucking natural curiosity.
Yeah.
With this underlying understanding that there may be an opportunity for business here.
Yeah. So, my last company, we were in a big business park, really big. And you could tell it was a perfect area for service-based businesses, landscapers, plumbers, HVAC, you name it, small warehouses and yards. There was a ton. And the one thing the landlord would let us do is put a big plaque on the main sign just to kind of advertise what businesses are in the business park, right? Because some of them were kind of storefronts, a little bit. But the biggest thing for me was I didn't just want to meet them. I wanted to see how they could use me and how I could use them. Not just like, hey, you need my services, but what do you need me to do for you?
Yeah.
Because in my area down here, I was in a very affluent area. Every single day we were in $1 million plus home, easy. If not multiple times a day, the same crew. So a lot of times that helps because other companies like landscaping companies, tree trimming companies, even your mom and pop shops, they want to get in front of someone who's not going to count their dollars for something they need. Now, for me, I figured the best way for my market, for my area, was personal connection. They want to meet who's about to go into their house, right? They want to meet these guys. They want to meet who runs the show, all this other stuff. Well, how do you do that with residential customers? There's a few different ways. And one of them is events. The other one is, I mean, you could throw your own event, have other businesses sponsor it. And then next thing you know, you have this palooza. You paid $0 for. Hell, you might even make a couple bucks. And you get not just other businesses involved, you get the residents of your community involved, right? So there's just a lot of aspects. And I'll tell you this right now. I solely believe that the further you go, the more money you need to spend on marketing. But in the beginning, if you think you have to go drop a dime every single time, you're wrong. Because our top marketing materials that work even to the day we sold the company were yard signs, door hangers, and then our wrap truck that was a one-time purchase that it paid for itself tenfold the first few months.
And I hate yard signs. I don't do them.
Right.
I did them. I bought my box of 100, and I probably had 50 left after 2 years. I didn't like them. I didn't give them away to other people. And there's a lot of reasons why I don't like the yard signs. A couple of them are, it's not environmentally conscious, right? Plenty of times you see yard signs that get ran over by landscapers and whatever else. Second piece, I think it looks fucking cheap and chintzy. And third thing, for me, it felt like I was desperate, right? So when it was one of those like, hey, if I got time to put yard signs out, obviously I don't have time to fucking bang jobs. So I didn't love yard signs. I will agree with you 100% on the wrap truck. Well, your second piece and door hangers have never been good for us, and it's just they're not good in our market, and we've done them. It's not for lack of try. We have done door hangers. To your point though about events, we did a community cookout a couple weeks ago, and we basically threw our own networking event. We cover the cost, no sponsors, but I had tons. When you tell a bunch of salespeople, hey, I got free food, and it's we did it at like 4:30, 4:35 o'clock. Man, it was a quick stop for a lot of people. They came in. And then I was able to show them our facility, how we recycle. So it's not just me up there at networking events talking about it, but it's people seeing it. And then to your point, people within the community, non-business people, 4:30, 5 o'clock, they heard free food, they showed up. Now, whether they're our customer or they go talk to their friends and family, our demographic is greater than age 56. That's a huge piece of our business. And we had some older people that were looking for a free meal. I don't give a shit. Also, but I can have some level of expectation. They're going to tell their friends and family, or use us either way.
Yeah, and there's also another thing. So if there's a nice park around, you get with the city and say, hey, how much to lease to rent a space at the park for 4 hours? And then they're going to be like, okay, what do you want to do? I want to do a community event, and I'd like to have a bounce house or a slide or some shit that the blow up kind. Because now you're getting into a different demographic. Now you're getting into, for us, our key demographic, no shit, like we zeroed it down. It was a stay at home. When I say stay at home, I don't mean they didn't work. I mean, they had their own businesses and stuff, but mostly it was a stay at home mom with a couple kiddos, and the husband was never home during the day, or he was traveling, but they made the decisions of the household. So anything at all.
But you're looking for woman head of woman head of household.
Yeah, so if we threw an event and we had a kiddie slide or something, bring your kids, or a petting zoo. Dude, those are our customers showing up, and they're gonna be like, "Holy crap! Yeah, I need you all the time because I have a bunch of crap I don't want, and my husband will be back Friday, and I want this gone before he gets home because he'll probably have a say in it, and I don't want him to." It's not lying, man. Or the way we had our area. We had literally a couple zip codes where we couldn't do yard signs because it's too uppity, man. You've seen the houses I've showed you. Yeah, they won't let you do yard signs, and I don't blame them. So how do you get to those people? Well, it goes back to the freestyling event, right? When you're doing a job, and I told this to my guys every single time. On the way home, on the way back to the yard, at the end of the day, if you're on the outside of the actual area, go through the downtown area, take the traffic route. Go through Main Street.
Slow
get seen by everybody out
at 15 miles an hour. Call it your own fucking parade. I don't care if it's 3-4 blocks. of this little area. You're slow rolling. I tell this to I think it's our GM. I said, yeah, I take different roads sometimes. If it's a 3-minute difference, 5-minute difference for me to go different road, I will do it. You know what? I love it sometimes when I get stuck at an intersection.
Yeah, people looking at it.
But I'm the first car up there, and there's a left-hand turn. Everyone's got to drive by and kind of see me, especially in a Ram truck. I'm like, hey, I am working. I might not be moving, right? I might not be busy, but I'm productive right now. And I will go out of my way to take some of those roads where you just see the truck.
In the beginning,
you're investing 3 to 5 minutes.
We actually got in trouble in the first year because you know how there's roads that have a median lane. It's meant for a turning lane, but it's for both. So it's just yellow. There's a whole lane of yellow. Yeah. We would use that to park in with our hazards on, walk across the street, go eat lunch. Then the police would get involved and say, hey, you can't do that anymore. But it worked, man.
You know what? Hey, you can do it until you can't. We used to park. So we used to park a truck. We used to park our 24-foot box truck in this Target parking lot. This Target parking lot was adjacent to a Starbucks. So when you're sitting there in the Starbucks line, you see this 24-foot no shit truck. And then what ended up happening was we parked it one time around Christmas, New Year's. I can't remember what it was. We didn't pick it up till February. Yeah. Right. It's our old box truck that we wrapped, and we didn't run it much in December. It was our yard. It was like our yard dog. And then we went to go start it and didn't start.
Wow.
And the only reason we moved it was because the snowplow company never plowed that lot because the lot was owned by another restaurant that went out of business. But they finally called us. They're like, "Hey, motherfuckers! Like, first off, great advertising. We see your truck every time we plow this lot. Second off, we need you to actually move it because we actually had to plow the lot finally." We're like, all right, that's fair. And then, of course, we went there. It didn't start. It was a pain in the ass. That, and then we also had another truck we used to park Home Depot on a Saturday. We would drop it off there Friday afternoon, pick it up Sunday morning, sit in the Home Depot parking lot. But it's not like you park it. We parked it in an adjacent lot, so everybody sitting in the Home Depot trying to leave would see it. And that was a great idea until a catalytic converter no longer existed on the truck. So that's why we stopped parking trucks, which parking trucks is huge. You already paid for the wrap, so you might as well get your money out of it. Now, I do like your throw up the hazards and put it in the fucking the median, because it's like, you know what? You're, like that, what the old adage, right? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. At least you know where your line is, right? You did it. It wasn't like you tried. You did it, and you did it until it was you knew it was illegal, but you waited until you were told it was illegal. But in that same interaction, you could have given the cop your business card, be like, hey, man, I appreciate it. Here, one more touch. Here's the business card.
And, you know, like, and even if – so while you were talking, I was thinking about what you said about yard signs, right? They look cheap, and the reasons you don't do them or haven't done them, I have a counter for you, because a lot of the neighborhoods we had that we worked in, you couldn't do them freestyle. Like, you couldn't just go put them on the corner. But what you could do is ask your customer, can I put this in your yard for a couple of days? Call me when you want me to take away. I'll come pick it up.
100%.
You know?
Yep. We would do that. We would put yard signs in our customers' properties, and then we would say, hey, we'll leave it up for a week. We'll come back. And then normally, so I used to do this when I was first hustling. What I would do is when I came back, if they hadn't given me a review yet, I'd ask them to give me a review, and I'd have a conversation with them for like 10 minutes. And again, this is when you only got 3 to 5 customers a day, right? You're only looking at 15, 20 customers a week or so. Like, you have the luxury of that. Now, I'm not saying I have to pay someone, but it almost be someone's full-time job, just like realtors, right? They have full-time crews that go and put up for sale signs. Like, that's their entire job.
And
but it almost be like
so like I had my wife, she actually would go out, and this was very few times. That's all you really need. And you'd set it up with one of your customers, either a past customer or a current. Yep. You could do both. Current customer, hey, do you mind if I actually come out and do a couple videos of my guys doing work, right? And then a past customer, like, hey, I see you left us a great review. Do you mind if I come and do a testimonial? And next thing you know, people are seeing real people who used us. And, you know, all this stuff is, like, to me, honestly, it's all basic, simple knowledge. But the issue is, dude, I didn't know any of this shit when I first started. I didn't. I'll tell you what did not work, and we stopped doing it because it's just irrelevant. Instagram. Like Instagram, at the time, it was meant for pictures, right? There's only so many before and afters you can see before you kind of get, okay, I understand what you do. Sweet. Now stop showing. But the reason why we prosper on Facebook is because you can do videos, all kinds of stuff. This is before Instagram switched more to videos, but for us, it was very personal, and that's what works for us. Now, like I said, our demographic, I don't really know many 20-something-year-olds that was calling us, right? They're mainly in their 30s or older, mainly 40s, actually. Yep. There's a few 30s, but, man, mainly 40s and older. Those are our customers. So how do you get in front of them, right? That's and look, I'm all about military, don't get me wrong, but I never had any luck with the VFW. Just wasn't just didn't do it. And that's me personally. We didn't want to do it.
No, I knew. I had franchises all over the country, and there was a huge difference between military-centric towns and non-military-centric towns. And the obvious one that I had was San Diego. They were huge. Obviously, there's a huge military population. They had a lot of military-centric things, and that ended up doing really well. The site there did well when they leaned in. The other site that was interesting that did well was the Minneapolis market. Minneapolis-St. Paul did very well, working with the VFW and American Legion, and which surprised me because in Milwaukee, I struggled.
Yeah.
I struggled with the American Legion and VFW. It wasn't for lack of doing it and showing up. But I remember going up to the Twin Cities, and we walked in the Legion, I can't remember what it was, the Legion of the VFW, and they thought we walked on water. They're like, yeah, you guys, young vets, we appreciate you. And they had sent us work. The flyer was up. It's like we were, and it led to jobs. It led to no shit. They talked about us. They preached it. I struggled with a lot of veteran organizations here in the Milwaukee area. I think there's tons of organizations out there that want to do work with vets and nonprofits and of the like. And I have struggled. I mean, I got kicked out of the Wisconsin Veterans Chamber of Commerce for, exercising my First Amendment right to free speech, which, again, sign of our times. You can't, have a fucking opinion without offending people. And I look at, for total side note, I look at it as a badge of honor when you get kicked out of shit. The other thing, total side note, when we're honest about this when it comes to veterans, right? We love veterans, but the people that have been most critical of me in my career have been veterans. And the people I've been most critical of are veterans because we hold ourselves to a higher standard. And when people don't adhere to that standard, the military bearing that we had at one point, I get fucking twitchy. And also people that want to compete with me I'm the veteran guy, right? Like, dude, just fucking be good at what you're good at. And then there's not a competition. Right? It doesn't matter if you're a veteran or not, right?
That's the thing.
Just be good at your thing.
The groups.
That goes my tangent.
Like the groups that I found most luck in, like we didn't market with the VFW, plainly because we tried and we figured out real quick, at least in our area, it was just more of a get away from the bullshit that we were trying to bring in. But
you and homeboy Brandon, you guys just did your own.
Yeah, so we started our own
veteran circle.
Veteran circles.
Are you guys still doing that?
Oh yeah. And we started that because
you're getting 40, 50. But there's a great opportunity. We don't need, right? We all entrepreneurs. You don't need a chamber or an organization to tell you when and where you can show up with other people. You guys started that and just started showing up to bars and bullshitting and having 40, 50 people.
Yeah. So
at $10 a head, that's $500 at a bar or restaurant. What the heck?
Yeah. So what's funny is Brandon started the Facebook years ago, and I was a part of it. And I noticed like every other Facebook group, it's just a bunch of talk. Like everybody, hey, anybody have a painter, or hey, you're an idiot, or whatever. So I was like, you know what? Let's actually make this thing physical, dude. Like, let's bring everybody together and then see who the real people are.
Yeah.
So we did, and our first meetup, man, there was like 50 people that showed up on a Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And we were like, okay, this is good. So we did it again once a month. For like the first year, we did once a month. Every time we averaged about 20-something people. So then we switched it up. I switched the time to lunchtime. I realized most of the people coming to the meetups were blue collar, small business owners in the service industry. But when I say service, I mean like HVAC, contractor type situation.
Yeah.
And you could tell the morning time was it worked, but man, how cool would it be if you had a time frame where you can just kind of chill and be casual. So I switched it to lunchtime, and I did it at a bar and grill local.
And you got to eat lunch.
Yeah,
you got to eat lunch.
And I brought that bar and grill. I was like, hey, what's your slowest day of the week? And they're like, Wednesday. Sucks. Lunchtime Wednesdays are terrible. I was like, perfect. I'm going to do it at lunchtime on Wednesdays. I'm going to get you 20-something new customers every week that you didn't have. So he let us, we have a banner in there. We have a sign. We pretty much do whatever we want with his approval, of course, but he lets us do it. When we have our meeting, he turns all the music off because he's like, hey, they got priority. Well, what we found out was we built a trusted network of veteran-owned businesses that now, like at the time when I was in J-Dog, they were my ambassadors, man. Not only would they call me, they would tell their customers to call me. So I was getting calls just from having a group, and I put all my needs aside. This group is not for me to get business. This group is for me to learn and teach everything I've learned and need to learn. And I want to do it together with other veterans. And now it's great. We're actually June 25th. We're having a real estate summit. It's gonna be really, really badass. We have a huge list of awesome speakers that are going to be there. It's an all-day event. It's our first big event of many. But it wouldn't happen without.
Are you still doing it weekly?
Twice a month. It's first and third Wednesdays in the town.
Or every other week, bi-week. Got it.
But we have 3 chapters now. Now we have one in North Dallas, and then we have one in North Fort Worth, and then the one I do. So it's grown, and there's always new people. So the cool thing is, it didn't take anything. Like I didn't have to pay money to do that. Like I was already talking to these people. Why not say, hey, let's all get together and find solutions to the problems that we're having. Help each other. Like what we're doing now, you and I. Like that's what we do so the next one is actually this Wednesday. And we're gonna be talking about marketing. No shit. That's what we decided. And it's just gonna be like, hey, 20 minutes of, hey, you right there, Mr. Andy Weins, what do you do? Oh, I do this. Okay, so what marketing have you seen works great for you and doesn't work at all for you? Oh, that doesn't work for you? Well, shit. John over here, who has a framing business doing construction, he says that works great for him, and what works for you doesn't work for him. So then we collaborate,
And it's not a pissing match. Actually, at an hour from now, I'm teaching a class on the Idea Collective, which is an online group spearheaded by Pat Miller, who was a business coach of mine years ago, who during the pandemic was like, shit, how do we get together and offer quality networking that is not bullshit Zoom meetings, right? And so I teach a monthly class called Basic Training with Andy Weins, and I talk business operations, and of all things, I'm talking HR tonight. Because I look at HR completely different than most other organizations. And at no point am I talking about junk removal or rage room or the environment or come to my, my next Young Guns event.
Yeah.
Right? It is, hey, this is what I know today about the human resources within your business. And here are some tricks and tips. I get paid not $1, but I enjoy doing it. And I'm giving. And while doing it, I fucking learn. So there's a huge advantage by taking the time, or you and I, when we take this time, if I don't invest this time, I guarantee you once a week when we're normally shooting this show, I would be working. But I'm not investing. I'm not, I'm not thinking through new ideas. I'm not double tapping. Some of the things that you and I are talking about now, it's like, I know we talked about it in the past, but it's like, well, yeah, I forgot. Why did we stop doing this type of marketing? I even thought, I was like, why did we stop parking trucks? Oh, yeah, we lost the catalytic converter. Well, what can I do? Well, I can still park my diesel truck because I guess they got a catalytic converter, but it's not made of the same precious metals. I don't know. My mechanic said, yeah, don't worry about losing your catalytic converter on diesel.
Maybe
So I'm already speaking above my pay grade. I'm sure someone will comment like, you're an idiot. You should know more about it because you drove truck in Iraq for a year. No, I didn't. I knew how to drive straight and back, left, right, make the fucking turn. If she didn't go, I took it down to the bay and someone else dealt with it. So, yeah, I know how to change a tire, and I know when it doesn't start, it ain't my responsibility.
Yeah.
It is.
I think the main takeaway is marketing comes in all shapes and sizes, and if you're not fucking doing it, then you're not going to get business. And having a budget is great. real quick. There was I forgot who it was. They're like, you should always set a marketing budget every month. Set a new budget. We did that, and then we realized either A, we weren't even meeting our budget, we didn't need to, or B, the times where we met our budget, we're like, okay, well, let's see if it works out. So what I found out was I talked to you. You're like, I don't really have a budget, and I'm like, that's a great idea because we don't really need a marketing budget because it kind of fluctuates. It really does. And what I also learned is
I have a budget annually.
Yeah, annually.
Yeah, if you look at it monthly, it's too much. You look at your KPIs monthly, but don't make decisions monthly. You've got to give it a 90-day burn.
Well, that's the thing.
Minimum.
That's what we
and then normally it's a 180-day burn.
And we saw that. I think it was like a 3 or 4 week turnaround is what we averaged when it came to marketing, like return. So if you think about that, whenever you went out to a networking meeting or whatever, and you're slow, and the next week you're like, shit, we're still slow, man, that didn't really work. Well, don't just stop doing it because you have to wait for that to kick in. And it's the biggest mistake of everybody.
It is consistency over time.
Right. It's the biggest. They want instant results. And I get that. I was there. I've been there too. But, the minute you stop, you're going to.
We've all been broke.
Yeah, exactly. Shoot. Right now, I'm almost there. Getting screwed over by a buddy. He'll do it to you. I'm not going to say names. That's a big no for me, dog.
Yeah. There you go. That's no for me, dog. Also a veteran, which is fucking disappointing.
He's still in.
Anyhow, we are on a total status.
He's still
right. Anyhow, yeah, it is what it is. God bless him. No, but that's the thing. Like when it comes to marketing, it is consistency over time. It is not instant results. And I'm glad we didn't talk about sales at all on this episode because when I meet entrepreneurs, whether they're day 1 or year 10. They're like, oh, yeah, my sales and marketing. I'm like, whoa, sales and marketing are two very different functions, and they are not the same in every business. Now, I can teach sales and marketing and junk removal because the sale is different than the marketing, right? They're two different. And when they get blended, that's when people start getting confused as to what they're doing. And so when people are like, oh, sales, marketing, advertising, it's like, whoa, those are 3 very different words that belong somewhere else on the chart. And sales is one thing I don't teach. I tell people how I do it because sales is extremely intimate, right? And I mean that it is what works for you, what works for your operations, what works for your customer. It is very customizable. Now, there are 1,000 salespeople out there that you can listen to. There's a 3-step, a 7-step, a 12-step, a 400-step program on how to get a sale. God bless, right? But when we're talking about marketing or even going to networking events, which is in the marketing vein, consistency over time. Know your message, and your message does not have to be elaborate. Right. Hey, this is what we do and don't do. This is where we do and don't go. And most importantly, right, start with the what. This is what we do. This is how we do it. Explain your differentiators. And then, why do you do it? And when you can do that, that's when people buy. People buy from people, and they can't buy from you if they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And if you don't tell people what your why is, if you don't know what your why is, then they can't buy from you. Make it simple for people to buy.
Well, and that's the thing is
that's my biggest takeaway when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, and one more thing, and I want people that listen to this, I want them to think about this, right? Think about the nicest restaurant in your area. Okay? What do they charge for a steak versus McDonald's? And the reason I say that is because you can either be the guy that sells a shit ton of cheap ass burgers, or you can be the guy that sells that high quality, tip of the iceberg sirloin that you can't get anywhere else, right?
And there's a customer for every.
There is. Yeah, but you got to market.
And there's no shame in being in one business or the other, but you got to know what business you're in. When people ask me all the time, I had a guy about a month ago. He goes, "Are you cheaper than me getting a dumpster?" I go, "Absolutely not." Just like that in a text message. He goes, "I appreciate the honesty." Not my customer. Got it. Right? Yeah. And now other people, I talked to my operations person earlier. She's like, yeah, we haven't been getting a lot of pushback on price. I'm like, well, the reasons is look how much referral business we get. And we got a 5-star rating on Google. When you got a perfect 5-star rating on Google, you get a lot of referral business. You use the old name your price guy. Right? And we don't gouge people. We're still a lower price than our competition because I want to drive value. And the way I explain it, well, I don't have to pay franchise fees and royalties, and the money stays here in the community, and yada yada. And we want to maximize the value and the return for the customer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
100%.
I love it. Market for your customer's appetite. I think that's the other issue. Speaking of food, is often I would market or sell or explain shit thinking it was my money and my budget and my wallet. It's not. You have to market and communicate to your end user to their aversion. What is their time worth?
Yeah. So,
and once you do that, marketing becomes a lot simpler.
So that's funny, man. The town I'm from, obviously I didn't start my business there, but the founder of the franchise that I was a part of asked me, would you ever use this company? And I said, absolutely not. And he goes, why? I go, because where I'm from, we do shit ourselves, right? But tell me why I built a 7-figure business in less than 6 years and sold it for a great profit. Because I wasn't doing it in that market. I was doing it in the market that needed what I was selling. You see what I'm saying? So we could probably talk about this for another 6 hours, but it's all relevant, man. I mean,
well, I tell people,
you got to know it.
I wouldn't go to the raid room.
No.
I would not go to the raid room, right? Now, I will smash things in my backyard with a forklift. Yeah. I will go out and shoot fucking guns. I will go play fucking volleyball and smash balls, right? Our guys know if I don't play volleyball on Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm not in good shape. If I play volleyball Tuesday, Wednesday, that's how I get out. That's my aggression, right? So I didn't build a rage room for me. My mom always like, I don't understand that business. I'm like, great. I don't.
You're not my customer.
Advertise to white women in the suburbs in their mid-60s. I don't want you to throw a hip in here, right? You ain't my target demographic. Right? That's it. I want men and women from 25 to 39 with disposable income. That's what I want, right? That have anger issues and probably a white collar job, not my retiree mom that wants to spend time with the grandkids. Not going to work here. There you go. You know what? Here's one of our challenges. This is what I'm going to challenge you, Casey, you and I on in front of our audience and everything else. I don't give a shit. Is that often when we do these podcasts, the first 30 minutes or so, we're warming up. We're talking about things that are very safe and simple. But then towards the end here, we get to the we're warm and now we can talk about whatever we want. Right? I definitely feel like we finished stronger at our podcast. So I'm going to challenge you, right, to do justice for our listeners and our audience. We got to get to the good stuff sooner, right? But there's also a reason why Joe Rogan does 3-hour podcasts. It takes him 90 minutes to get warmed up, and not off camera, right? You got to do it on camera. You got to go through the paces and whatever else. So, anyways, that's an observation I'm making because, like, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to what we're doing, podcasting, anything else in life, it is, look at your fighting position and always make improvements. Right? And that's one of the challenges to marketing. Always improve your fighting position.
So what's your challenge?
We can't call it a foxhole anymore because it's not politically correct to foxes. They got offended.
So what's your challenge? What are you challenging me to? You're like,
I'm challenging us to get to the good stuff soon.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Well, so here's how we fix that. Let's plan what our next topic is before the fucking day that we talk about it.
I'm good
also,
with that. That's
speaking
fine.
of next time,
actually, you're about to have a
baby.
You're about to have a baby.
Yeah, next Monday or sooner. So yeah, I'll have to get with you on that.
So here I'm gonna throw this by you. I'm gonna have, if you're good with it, our new GM as the sit-in co-host for you. And the beautiful thing about that is he'll have 3 weeks in junk removal underneath his belt. So the question, one of the challenges you and I have, we got 30 years of combined bias of running trucks and in some capacity, right? I got 20 years, you got 10 when it comes to, running trucks and being your own boss, whatever. So I want to bring in a guy. I want to bring him in for the episode and just to be a sit-in and also ask the questions of things that he doesn't have answers to yet. Completely, with just a few weeks under his belt doing junk removal. So that's my plan for next.
I would tell him you have.
There's your teaser. Yeah. There's your teaser for people listening.
And tell him during the podcast.
All right. So let's do that. From now on, we'll tee up the topic.
Yeah.
What's that?
Tell him during the podcast he has no repercussions for any honesty. So I don't want, like, make sure he knows that, hey, look, if you come in here and you talk about your bitch points versus your non-bitch points, like, that's fine. We'll leave it there. But it gives you a good look of 3 weeks on the job. What do you think? What do you see? What do you feel?
Yeah, and again, it's just enough of a taste of the job where he doesn't know it all, and he's not jaded. But it's not like day 2 when you're all excited. Like 3 weeks into doing a junk roll, you might be beaten down by that.
Like, what am I doing?
And right now, right now it's our season. We're putting some hours in, Jack. We've had some of our best weeks ever the last few weeks. We're screaming right now. Some of the things that we implemented, 60, 90 days ago or whatever, a little over 60 days ago, are hitting. So, all right, boys, girls, children of all ages, we appreciate you hanging out with us for the greater part of 50 minutes here on the Trash Talk Business Podcast. I'm Andy Weins. That's Casey Bubba Lawrence. We'll see you next week.